Can we talk yet?
All right, welcome everybody. The stream has started. Everyone can talk.
Hello.
So let's just start off today by saying that we are joined by ZenziQ, the creator of NomNom, No Man's Sky Save Editor, and I'm going to open up the GitHub page as soon as the stream allows. There we go. Smooth transition. All right. So let's just get started with the usual stuff. What have you gotten up to this week, Blenderman?
I'm stuck in this quarantine.
Sorry.
I'm not productive at all. There's zero code that I've come up with the past 2 weeks, 3 weeks.
Oh, that's fine. It's a bit difficult these days. We actually, for the Assistant for No Man's Sky, actually got 2 big features out that have been on the back burner for a long time. So I'm pretty happy about that. I just need to fix a few bugs that have been...
In a way, I guess. But what are those 2 features?
Sorry?
What are the 2 features, like,
Okay, so
as a preview?
the first one is the HD images, and I'll get an example of that going just now. And the second one is
later. We'll talk about that later. Talk about after.
Talk about it later. Okay.
Talk about NomNom. Yeah.
All right. Let's talk about NomNom. It is on screen. So ZenziQ, we have a few questions for you.
Yes.
First of all, like, what got you started on NomNom? Because you already have a competitor.
Yes, and I used it regularly. Yeah, and it's working fine, of course. But yeah, some things started to annoy me, and can't remember everything. But one thing was the at item search. When you have enter more and more of the item you're looking for, but can't remember exactly its name or something like that. But yeah, you have to enter more and more until the result is unique. Yeah, at the same time, I get some ideas for new features, or didn't want to do things manually anymore.
Yeah, and you're quite open to feedback. I saw on the Reddit when you first announced it, like people mostly, well, especially Monkey Man, pointed something out and you were like quick to fix it. So you're obviously listening to feedback.
Yes. Safe Editor by Goat Fungus has already some GitHub issues, more like for new features, where I thought, yes, that's a good point, and should be in there. Yes, that's the main point, and as there is no source code, obviously by Goat Fungus, there wasn't much options to.
I never realized the Save Editor was closed source. That must have sucked when you started on.
Yeah, it only now that you said it, it actually clicks to me because I've never actually wanted to edit it, but I know that it had versions that we could use.
No. Yeah, I didn't actually contact him to ask for it, but yeah, I wanted to try a .NET project for a longer time, but I'm really bad at thinking something up. So I took the opportunity and yeah, started it and tried it on my own.
Oh, that's awesome. That's really awesome. I actually did send an invite to Goat Fungus for the No Man's Sky community developers, but I haven't heard anything back from him. So that leads me on to my next question. It's like, what do you think happened to Goat Fungus? He seems to have stopped working.
Yeah, good question. I actually yeah, updated from time to time when yeah, no big updates are released and updated the item database. Yeah, but
I guess life just got too busy.
yeah, maybe.
Or it might be something more embarrassing, like a lost SSH key or something.
Yeah.
Oh, awesome. What do you think? Or what was the most difficult part about reading from the save files? Because I see you're getting like a huge amount of information from the save game files. I've never looked at in the save game file, so I have no idea what's in there.
Yeah. Yeah. I used as I used the editor by Good Fungus, I was already in there. As you can see, the raw JSON in there. But I tried yeah, to change things manually, like the cylindric rooms you can see here.
Oh yes.
Yeah, but it's that's one point that you have to look how things work together when you change something, how it affects the game itself.
Are you using mbin compiler to see a lot of this information, or are you?
Yes. I use admin compiler and yeah, wrote a Python script to extract all the information I need.
Oh man, I just realized I was super zoomed in on these images. Alright. Yeah, it'd be nice to talk to Monkey Man about his mbin compiler. One day we'll have him here.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah. Another point was to get the objects right for the the information you have in the save file. First started to implement it the classes on my own, but stopped it pretty quick. That as it's pretty much you have to do. And later I found a QuickType that converts JSON to many classes automatically, and yes, I had to do some things manually. It was also on Reddit. I don't know if you've seen it. The one bug that corrupted some saves.
Yes.
Yeah.
I saw that, but I saw the person didn't get back to you. So, did you eventually figure out what the issue was?
Yes. Yeah, it was on data types. Wasn't correct.
Okay.
Recognized. Some things already were missing, as every save is more or less unique, and yeah, they've everything put together somehow. Yeah.
All right, cool. So now we're gonna go into your code and then criticize you. Nah, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
Lie.
You can do it later when it's released on GitHub.
No, I'm just joking. Yeah, everyone can go do that with my apps. Your eyes will burn. All right, so you decided you want to do a .NET project just was it just for learning, or is it something that you're already proficient in?
No, I did that a long time ago already, and yeah, wanted to do it again. Yeah, on my job, I'm primarily working with Python.
Okay, Python's pretty cool.
Yeah.
Sorry, I didn't catch that. You were working with what?
Sorry.
You were working with what in real life?
And now as for normal, I'm working with C#, and on my job,
cool.
I'm working with Python.
Yeah,
Spice.
Python. There's quite a few tools out there for Python.
Okay.
Monkey Man's,
Nice.
and not his mbin compiler, but his dialect translator is actually in Python. Which, yeah, that'll be cool to have. He's actually working on. So the dialect translators will allow us to translate the alien languages in No Man's Sky to English. And I think it's pretty close to completion, but not there just yet.
He's using Python because the binary reverse engineering tool that he was using on the game that accepted Python scripts. So it's like a logical transition to make a full-on Python program that does the translation.
Oh, that makes sense.
Yeah, that was cool. Like how that a binary weird mumbo jumbo thingy was using Python to like automate the searching process. That's neat.
Yeah.
You don't have to do everything manually. But coming back to no.
Yeah, let's ask you a more technical question. I noticed that in your requirements, which I'm not going to be able to... Oh, there it is. You were asking for .NET Framework 4.7.2. Is there a reason you didn't go for .NET Core?
Actually, I started before version 3 when Windows Forms and WPF are added.
Oh.
So yeah, so I started with framework and didn't want to migrate to .NET Core in between. So yeah, I am stuck with the framework.
I am quite a .NET Core evangelist, I guess is the word. I just love .NET Core. It just seems to be so fast and just work everywhere. I just love it.
I plan to migrate to version 5 when it's released. Next year then.
There's some strategies to do it, like moving all your code libraries to .NET Standard and then moving the actual console app, WinForms app to Core is a little bit easier because then all your libraries still work. But it is a lot of work to do. Alright, so you said you're using the mbin compiler to get all your data. Have you had a sneaky look at the Assistant for No Man's Sky GitHub page? One of them, the languages. Because we also do that, but we have all of the JSON files available. If you can see my screen now. Okay, so it's a bit of a weird structure. So I'll do buildings, for example. Oops. So we pretty much extract all the data and put it into JSON because I like reading from JSON a bit better. And we have it like this. We have our base item, we have buildings and the image and all that kind of data, the stuff that doesn't need translation. And then for each specific language, we have the items that are English, German, or whatever. So if you want to use our data, it's there on GitHub if you want to grab it.
Yes, I didn't actually look at it yet, but
I don't think we've advertised this yet either. So
yeah, not really. This used to be, so if you don't know, at the beginning of the app, I was not using the game files to translate items, so everything was done manually. So all the English
The good old
things.
days. Back in the good old days.
Oh man, we're not good days. I did all of the English files, and then I asked people to help me translate every single game item and description into German and Italian and whatever, and that took way longer than obviously now just using the game files.
Yeah, I can imagine that. Yeah.
All right, well, let's.
Yeah. Actually,
Yeah.
I'm extracting the language too, not just raw data.
That's awesome.
But yeah, we'll have a look at it. So maybe I will be using it. We will see.
I didn't check if there was a way to change languages. I think I only used it in English. But are you supporting like all the languages, or is that something that'll come later?
Well, the infrastructure is already there.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, as you can change it on runtime. But currently it's disabled because I'm lazy and don't want to do the German simultaneously at the moment. So I will do that later.
No, makes sense. Makes sense. All right.
When you're starting out, you just want to get the features in before all the translation bullshit.
Yeah.
That's for later.
I think even with the AssistantNMS Sky app, we do that a lot. Like it's annoying to use the localization system and go add a string
make this localized, and then leave it for whoever comes upon that sometime else.
I think with this last release, just before I make the release, I usually go and check the to-dos to see if there's any translation stuff, and I think there was 11 items that needed to be added. So
I think there were 11 items like 3 months ago. Like when I looked at the source code and I looked at all the warnings, there were 9 to-dos, and yeah, it's been consistently there. I don't know if they're the same word translations, but yeah, there's been 9, 10, 11 all the time. Just new features that have been translated.
Well, you'll be happy to know there's only 2 at the moment.
Yay!
All right, so
yeah, I'm trying to actually use it as much as possible from the game files for the translation. Yeah, but it's yeah, apparently not working for everything.
Yeah, it's not the easiest. And there's items in there that are like units and Quicksilver. They're all capitalized. There's no lowercase version, which is so frustrating.
Yes, yeah, actually handle that in my script to automatically convert that.
Makes sense.
I think that's what he did. That's what Kurt did to like build this JSON file. He went through everything and converted all that all cap stuff to title case, I guess.
Actually, there is a uppercase version and there's a lowercase version in the files.
Oh yeah, that yes, I remember. You remember the whole tech tree thing? Yeah, that's when I got a good look at your system.
Yeah.
It was
yeah, it's also a bit inconsistent in the file. Sometimes you have
the game
lower, sometimes you use upper with so L or up suffix.
Yeah.
It's all over the place. Yeah.
This week I've had a lot of issues with Matteo has been pointing out. So Matteo is one of the users of the app, and he's been really good at providing feedback and beta testing a lot of the things. And he's
the professional bug catcher now.
Yeah, he's insane. Everything in this list here is what he's pointed out that I need to get done. I need to fix. So the one thing he pointed out.
We just need a separate. We need a separate table for him.
Yeah, probably. The one thing that he pointed out was that stack sizes. So let me bring the emulator on. Oh, mega emulator. Okay, make that little. There we go. All right, so the stack sizes, we had them for these items like, Yes, lucky. All right, so like this null figurine has a maximum stack size of 5. Easy peasy. What was the issue was that none of the raw materials had stack sizes. And when I looked into the game files, every single raw material has a stack size of 1.
Yes.
So I've gone and done the bad, and I've just hard coded it to 9,999.
Oh man.
I'm sorry, but as far as I could see, they're all 9,999.
Why are you sorry? I'm sorry for you. You have
I-
to do all the manual stuff.
I wish there was a better way. And then the construction parts, the game files obviously have stack sizes for each of these items. So now I've made it so that if it's a construction part, we just don't show the stack size. Because most cases, when you break down these construction parts, they just break down to their base components. So yeah, I don't know. Nom Nom, have you had any issues with that, or can you point me in a better direction?
No, I actually hard coded that to actually the max sizes yeah, for normal game mode and hard mode.
Okay. Yeah. There's also there's a difference between survival and normal mode, isn't there? Between the stack sizes.
Oh man, I
Yes.
hadn't even thought that.
On hard mode you have a maximum of 250
Oh man.
for
So
raw materials.
when I saw that in the game files, there was just a max multiplier, max stack multiplier, I think it is called. And I was like, that's a strange way to do it. And I figured out just by looking at the game and then looking at an item that I had in the game files. It's like, okay, I have to multiply it by, and I can't remember what the number is.
Yeah.
And then I was happy. But I realized now that that multiplier would be different depending on what game mode you're in.
Yes, game mode and which inventory you have.
Yeah.
That's just a weird way to do it. On par with everything else Hello Games has ever done.
Yeah.
Yeah, I have done it. I have a base like glaube so 50 for hard mode. So I multiply that with multiplier in the save file to get the max value. But yeah, I've also hard coded the absolute max for each game mode.
Yeah, I don't really know how to fix this issue other than asking the user to put in what their game mode of choice is and then maybe asking them to categorize each inventory type that they add. So like this one.
Oh my god.
And then figuring out the max stack size. But I also don't want to limit someone. Like if you want to add 10 million ammonia, then you should be allowed to add that many ammonia if you really want to. I'm not going to stop you.
Yeah, it's your headache figuring out whether that's actually fitting in your inventory.
Because I mean, they could do 2 or 3 stack sizes, like 2-3 full stacks, or even fill the entire thing with stacks. So I'm not going to limit that. Yeah, these are the challenges that you get when you develop these apps. All these silly little issues. Now let me show you the cool feature that Yakuza's been working hard on, and that is the HD images. So ZenziQ, you know that the images in the game files, they are mostly 256 pixels by 256 pixels. And I don't know if you've seen in the Assistant for No Man's Sky app, but all the images in the app are 128 by 128 for space reasons. I obsessively resized all of them and then optimized all of them so that the app would be as small as possible.
And the images would be as crap as possible.
Yes, exactly. And
especially when you went back and added a zoom in function to all those images that were crap.
Yeah.
That just, yeah.
So you could look
like,
at
it's your funeral.
You could zoom in onto a 128 by 128 image, full screen on your phone, and then go even further.
Yeah.
Anyway, this
right
annoyed.
Down to the last pixel.
Exactly, and there wasn't even a limit at one point, so you could go zooming into a pixel forever and ever and ever. Anyway, this obviously annoyed Blenderman, as you can hear. and Yakuza as well, and they all wanted me to add the 256 pixel images, and I was a bit resistant. So Yakuza took it upon himself to use an AI tool to enhance each of the images, each of the game file images to 1024 by 1024 pixels. So it's not,
He upscaled them.
yeah,
He upscaled the source images to from four times the original size.
yes, which normally if you did it with, I don't know, probably with,
Zoom, just a zoom.
yeah, it would just blow up the pixels and it wouldn't actually look that great, but the tool that
Yeah.
he's using is actually making it, it's like adding detail.
And he's manually doing some other like touch-up work with Photoshop as well. This is the this is the HD version.
Yes, so this is the HD version of Apple Cake of Lost Souls, and I never knew before, but there's a scary
That it had a
face.
face on it. Oh my
Yes,
God!
Didn't
Damn,
know
he
that
is.
too.
it's
Oh wow.
extremely scary. Um, so yeah, a lot of these
Is
have
he
now got huge improvements.
whatever algorithm he used that reproduced it pretty faithfully for us to
Yeah,
like notice it right away. That's nice.
let's do a difficult one. Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I
Can
mean,
see it a little bit blocky, but I mean that's how it goes with the AI stuff.
yeah, I mean,
Hit and miss
upscaling
sometimes.
is difficult. What has a lot of
Very.
detail?
Especially with drawings and like generated art like this. Like, it's not photos, it's not real photos. Photos are real things. So the database doesn't exist. The AI draws upon its own database, right? So most of the pictures that exist in its database would be like pictures of real stuff, like real taken from a camera of real things. So that's how it looks at all the images that it goes through. But then when you give it a cartoon or something like this, something like in-game art, then kind of gives you a subpar output because it's not trained for that sort of work.
Yeah, I agree. The one thing that we now need to, well, that I need to do is I need to go through all of these images and just remove duplicates. So Hello Games really liked using the same image for multiple things, especially with cooking. I mean, cooking is um, the worst, the worst in committing that crime. Where's my cooking? I can't see it there.
Also, they have the same image multiple number of times in their in the game files, don't they?
Yeah, yeah.
They have the same. They have like copies of each image, just like with different names, but they're the same image.
I think that's for like in the future they could replace that image really easily then, but for
Yeah, and
now it
also
just adds bloat.
it makes like looking it up easier. Every like it's a one-to-one correspondence rate.
Yeah.
Same with yours. Same with your app. It you does a, okay. This is item number X. What is picture X dot PNG? That's
Yes.
the item's picture.
I,
So you
I
don't need another lookup table in the middle and complicate things.
I actually did at one stage. I think when cooking was added, the update after cooking was added, I went through all of these images and then made them match. So like this one, there would only be one of this image, and then all the other IDs would point to this one.
Oh crap.
I went through all that
Okay.
effort, and then when I can't remember what I actually changed, but I had to redo all of the cooking items, and then I was like, I'm not going to sit here and check every image. I'm just going to let it copy every single image. I'll just have all of them.
Why go through the effort? Like it's a waste of time.
I agree. I think it might be easier if I go and create a console app or something, and I just say, this is the image I want to keep, and then let's just enter the IDs of the ones that are duplicating it, and then it can go and write that to the files for me, because doing this manually is so painful and so easy to get confused. I mean, it's ridiculous. So that at least doing that, I'd save some space, and it would also reduce the amount of images that Yakuza Sasuke would have to go through and HDify, if that
Did he
makes any
do
sense.
everything?
He did every single
Like,
image.
oh my god, what? Oh.
So you can see here we go, enhanced images. So obviously I went through all of them and I tried to optimize them. So this is the enhanced images repo, and there is a link here. There we go, to his Google Drive, where he's got all the upscaled images, and they are. Okay, I wish it would tell me how big it is, but it's 1.1 gigs. I think it's somewhere there. There we go, 1.1 gigs, which is huge. So I went through it, and I went through each image and then threw them into Kraken. I don't know if you know about Kraken, this web interface. So you can just drag in an image in here, and it'll give you an optimized version. And
oh yeah, I ran upon this bit earlier when I was looking at. You have this somewhere in your app as well. You have something optimized by Kraken, a
yeah,
JSON file or something. Yeah.
yeah, I do that a lot. So what I
Nice.
ended up getting is, so these are the unoptimized images, the ones that are too big to go into Kraken. So Kraken won't even bother trying to optimize them. Cooking is is huge. So this folder that I have here called AssistantNMS, that is all of the images, with most of them optimized. The unoptimized images are also in here, and they still need to be tackled. But after going through that Kraken optimization, I now have every single image in here, and I think it's 300 megs. I think, yeah, 300 megs, and the unoptimized folder is 400 megs. So Kraken is like actually reducing the image size by 70% while keeping, I think I'd say like 90% of the quality.
Good. How did
So
you optimize it without Kraken? Did you use some other service?
though, well, no, I've always used Kraken to optimize it, but I did use a console app that I wrote to resize the images to 128 pixels, and that saved a lot of space in the beginning. And then I learned about Kraken.
Oh crap. Okay.
So yeah, reducing the size and then optimizing through Kraken, it really it does wonders.
Wow.
All right. So yes, that was the HD images, and then of course the timer feature, which is the new baby. Let's go down here, timers. So for all you that don't know, you can now, well, you can't yet because Google Play still needs to approve the update, and they didn't even approve the last one. They're still approving the last one. So it's
How
been more
long
than
has
a
it been
week.
in the run?
It's been more than
Yeah,
a
it's
week for the
been,
last one. I think it's been a
yeah.
week, and this is the second day. And the other one was released on Thursday, so this is the second day. I honestly don't know what's going on there. So if you want the latest Android version, your best bet is to go to apk.nmsassistant.com and download it yourself and then sideload it. And if you want some instructions on how to do that, I can help you. Just join the Discord. Oh, and you'll like this, Benderman. I moved the APK files from being hosted on this web server, and they are now in GitHub. So
Oh,
people can just download it
okay.
straight from GitHub. And then obviously the alpha versions if you want. Although these are prone to bugs. I'll admit that 1.38.1 and 1.38.3, if you try to add a timer, it will crash. So maybe I should remove those. Which brings me on to just a quick technical point. The reason that crash was happening is due to something called ProGuard. And ProGuard is this nifty little thing that runs on Android that goes and strips out classes and functions that aren't being used in the release version of the app, like some things that aren't referenced, to make your app size a lot smaller. Unfortunately, the plugin that we're using for local notifications, which is
Which stage of the app like production cycle does that runs ProGuard? Is it
the
on Google
build,
Play side or the build? Okay.
yeah, the
So
Gradle build.
okay.
If it picks up it's in release mode, then it will go and run through ProGuard. Oh goodness, did this guy? I think he changed the package name. Yeah, it's this one. Alright, so we're using Flutter local notifications, and for whatever reason, ProGuard is just really upset with this person, this individual, this package, and just rips it out every time. So we didn't have ProGuard rules before, but now we do, and we're pretty much saying allow all of dexterturks.dev, whatever his package name is, we're allowing all of that to stay in the app. So that was quite annoying because obviously in development mode it works 100% no problem because Progrod doesn't run then. But when it goes into release
and
mode,
the app is just massive
so
in debugging mode.
yeah. So this is the new timer interface, and the start date will automatically be set to the current time when you open the page, and then you can just say like, oh, I want a reminder in 1 hour, and then we've got some fancy new icons here. These can be
Oh
improved
yeah,
a
I
little
saw
bit.
that.
They're a bit dark, unfortunately. But I went through and I added as many of the icons I thought would be useful. For example, when you're doing the living ship, it's useful to have these, the different stages that take 24 hours, and your plants, and generic plant refiners, and there's a cooking in here somewhere. Uh-oh, there's a cooking been left out. Oh man, quickly add a ticket for that. Damn, let's just chuck it at the bottom here.
If for nothing else, this dev stream is just for you finding stuff you need to add.
Yes. Well, it's
You're
actually,
just treating YouTube like a big rubber ducky.
YouTube is my big rubber ducky. It's actually not that hard to do. If I just show you here, so I set up a constant, and that's what I'm talking about, for user selection icons. Let's just get rid of that.
Oh, way better now. I thought you would manually like making a list of all the icons for every in every Dart file, but this is way better.
Yeah, so this can be reused everywhere.
Yeah.
So if I do that, yes, Dart
Oh,
analyzer.
that you have that bug. You have that Dart analyzer bug. Yeah, I ran into that.
It is very frustrating.
Yeah.
There we go. There it is. Done. Bug fixed. Although I don't really want to use the inventory one. And what I realized is that I copied all of the images that I wanted into the inventory folder, when I should have actually just used them directly in the products folder.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Unfortunately,
You have the bad habit of like moving everything around in folders, and then it gets hard to like keep track. It's not the same variation. Directory. What was that? Man, words are hard.
I think
The string that goes to the image loader is not the same everywhere, so that gets tricky.
yeah, that is tricky, because the image loader ignores it doesn't want you to pass in that beginning bit. It only wants you to put in the end bit. And with inventory management, I'm also just putting in this bit, so you only need to specify the name of the file, which I think in the beginning when I added this, I was like, I'm afraid that the build ID is going to change for this specific one. So I don't want to use the build ID in case it changes. But that's a little bit silly because if the game items IDs are changing, then there's probably a bigger issue. But anyway, so these need to be actually moved out, and the correct ID should be used. I think only these. So we have the image for 0. We don't have the image for all the way up to 9 in the game files because we're only showing one container and one freighter container because they all have the same name and description. So yeah. Anyway, that's something that needs to be fixed, but it's annoying because it needs to now have backwards compatibility because someone who has an inventory with this icon, it won't load anymore if we delete those images. So now we need to move it to the new way and then keep these images here as well, just in case, or write something to change the icon to the new icon. So
this is just like
that's what happens.
It's getting intense.
Yeah, that's what happens when you just write stuff and you're like, oh, it'll be fine, and then you realize it's not fine. So let's change this. We'll change it to like in a minute from now.
Oh, even the datetime picker has the font.
Yeah.
Wow.
I didn't have to do anything special for that. It kind of just happened.
That's some Google shit right there.
Oh, I did not change the timer name. Let's call it DevTalk. There you go. Pansies. All right. I also got this. This is also a more technical thing, but this page refreshes every second to
That's
update the
nice.
percentage and the timer, the percentage and the number of seconds left. One issue I got into was this little pop-up guy. It would not work. So if you took longer than a second to click an item, it wouldn't work. And it had to
How did you
do.
fix that?
So I was passing
Yeah.
in a list of actions. So I'd say like, hey, here's an edit and a delete function. And then when you clicked on this, it would use that specific item's ID to go and look in the list of actions I sent, which was only 2, and then it would be like, okay, this is the one that he clicked execute. The problem that was happening was that those IDs were being generated on every time the component was created. So every second a new list was being made, and the IDs were different.
So if if it took longer than a second, the ID would be different, and it wouldn't
Yes.
reference the action anymore.
Yes. So the way to fix that was to, instead of making IDs every time, was just give it the function that it must execute. So it doesn't even need to look in the list for an ID. It just says, this is the one that was clicked.
This is the function.
Yeah, call the function.
Oh, notification.
Although there's 2 of them. Uh-oh.
Why is it? Oh, when you renamed it, it didn't delete
the old
made
one.
a new instance.
Which is
it made a new instance, which is bad.
Which is what
okay. No, it's I think it's sending out both timers, the new timer and the DevTalk.
Which is even worse actually. So there is a function that when you edit a timer, it will go and delete the previous one, and then set the new one, create the new one. So let's see if this.
I don't think that anything's wrong with that. New timer to something like that.
Yeah. But I should have given it a proper name from the beginning. Alright, so now we'll see if we get new timer and DevTalk. Okay, well, let's not mess around with it too much. Oh no. Okay, that was a bad test, to be honest. No, keep showing. Alright, so that looks like a bug that needs to be fixed. Although I was sure I fixed it. So each of these, when they're created, they get a unique ID for the notification that they're doing. So let's get the name right this time. And they get saved with that ID so that later on they can... there's no delete. So that later on they can go in and remove themselves. Because there's no edit notifications. I'm just going to set this another minute later. Because that took too long. Alright, and we do brain. Because it was super brain. Alright, we'll leave that running. Yeah, so it's got to actually delete the notification and then create a new one in its place. But if that's not happening, that could be a little bit annoying for anyone who's editing their timers. We'll just have to make a policy. You have to get it right the first time. Alright. I was going to find it in the code, but might not be worth it. Or maybe it will be. Here we go. So on editing.
I don't know what happened, but my connection is really bad, and I'm thinking Sphinx Code has the same problem because he's complaining in the DevTalk channel.
Oh, is this
repeated connection?
Yes. Yeah, my connection is also.
I think it's a Discord problem.
Yeah, it might be. Sphinxwell, do you want to talk? Because I'll give you the DevTalk ability, DevTalk role.
He doesn't need it though. He is an administrator.
Oh yes. Okay, cool. He did say something here. Talking about refreshing the page every second. Oh, okay. Alright, so the bug is weirder than I thought. Oh, but I didn't edit that one. Ah, man. Alright, well that's something that needs to be tested. Let's see. I do remind you, finding a way to fix the views from the guides. When you like a guide, it gets a view more because of the refresh of the page. Yes, so that was an issue for guides. So let's go like Sphinx Code's guide.
You did fix it in the a recent update, right? Like
Yeah, I
the
did.
one before that hasn't come up on Play Store yet.
Oh yeah, you're right. Okay, so this one, for example, has got 1,730. So if we click this like button, that loading icon was a bit strange. I may need to look at that. But the view count didn't increase because it's not actually refreshing or fetching the guide anymore. Yeah, I just need to look at that loading icon. That was a bit weird. Another one for the Trello board.
Everything is planned for the next update.
Yeah, these are all priority icons. Priority tickets. I think these ones will be quite easy since it's literally removing an item. So the Starship Race Initiator, I think you've brought it up a few times, Blender Man, but we should probably remove it since it's not an item you can get in the game. It's just in the game files. Ah, there it is. Starship Race Initiator. It would have been cool though to be able to start Starship races, but yeah, it's not in the app. Oh, we lost today for a second, Blender Man.
It was getting really bad.
Alrighty. So yeah, that's the stuff that's been done to the app this week. We just gotta hope that Google Play is nice and releases our updates finally. The iOS App Store has been really good. They've been working hard. And
Google Play is holding the updates for ransom.
yes. And then we can talk
Holding
about
them hostage.
Just one small thing.
Yeah.
About your images. I looked in my script and stuff in the meantime, and the cooking images actually used once. They use the same image for multiple items.
Oh, is it? So it's me that's duplicating the images. Is that what you're trying to tell us?
Basically.
You're the problem.
I'm the problem. Oh damn. Okay. So
yeah.
How many cooking
Just
images
want
are
to
there?
let you know that.
I might. Okay, that won't be too bad of a fix then, because then I could actually use the game files to make the
There
images
might be
for
an
me.
XML that says which image is what.
That is.
Yeah.
That is a
I
lot
just
better.
checked here the normal cake, and it's used 28 times. So.
Oh damn. All right, let's see. So here's the game files right now on the screen. So there's only 75 different cooking items, and I assume some of these, like this one, is a bit strange. You lied. There's a duplicate. Look at this. I'm finally doing it. No.
Yeah.
Okay, so there's 75 files in here, and can you guess how many files I have in the cooking images folder?
A lot more.
I have 251.
Whoa.
Alright. Thank you for that,
How did that
ZenCQ.
come about?
Because there's 250 recipes. 251
Oh,
recipes.
okay.
Alright. Yeah, but thank you for that, ZenCQ. I can then actually go in and fix that. It'd be a lot easier than going through each item and doing it manually.
That would be a game data reader.
Yes, that'll be a game data reader.
Yeah.
Ooh, that one's cool. It's just got 3 of them together. So you can see here actually with where's the apple cake of Lost Souls? This one. There we go. So if you look closely, you can see the face. If you zoom into it. But then if we look at Yakuza's version, which is now going to be, it's not too bad to get to actually. Let me just do this.
Oh, by the way, Damak Smash had posted in the chat. He said he would love to race starships in VR. No, yeah, man.
Oh man, that would be cool.
That would make, that would be racing, a space racing simulator. Heck yeah, sign me up.
Might be a bit nauseating though in VR, I think, because there'll be a lot of
Oh
movement.
yeah.
Yeah, look at that detail. Look at that. How did it figure out that it's drawing an alien face?
AI.
AI, man.
It's smarter than all of us.
Oh, and even the name is called Cake Evil. That's pretty cool.
Oh man.
And maybe we should have like a on stream like showing how to not mod but how to get to well, I guess how to unpack the game files for people who don't know. Because it's actually quite easier than it sounds.
Yeah, it is.
All
You
right.
do it on a weekend.
Yeah. All right, let's go back to this guy. There was something. Oh, yes. So the Assistant for No Man's Sky app has gotten a new developer, and on Discord their name is the Stone Cold Man. And now I'm just trying to find the YouTube page. I hope you're watching at the moment, the Stone Cold Man.
Stone
Shakar?
Cold Man is maintaining. Yeah, Shikar. That's what
There
I
we go.
said. Yeah.
All right, so he's been working hard on the. So this is a React app, this web app, and is accessible via app.nmsassistant.com. I will put a link on the homepage eventually. At the moment, it's actually hidden, so there'll be a third little badge here that will say PWA. I think it's PWA, so Progressive Web App. But anyway, it doesn't matter. This is the web version of the app. It's a little bit behind. It's playing some catch up, but hopefully with our new developer, it will go a lot quicker. And he's actually already fixed a few bugs, one of which I won't be able to recreate now. Oh, it's cooking. So if you clicked on one of these items, it would actually just break the page, which it's not doing now.
Wow.
So
Great way to get it on Google Play. Just crash the web app.
sorry.
Great way to force people to use the Android version. Make it crash on the web app.
Yes. So the one thing that's nice, or the best part of this web app is the ability to translate items. So on the app, if you wanted to know, for example, what the Starship race initializer is in a different language, you would literally have to go change your setting to whatever language you want, and then scroll and go find that image again, which isn't fun because there's 1,200 items. But with this one, we can go find the Starship race initiator, and then just change the language from here. Let's go Dutch again. And now you know what it is in Dutch.
It works both ways. If you know what it is in your language, you can find out what it is in English.
Yes, and it's been super helpful with Matteo being Italian, and his screenshots are usually Italian. So for me to find the actual
you just copy paste that into the web app. That's nice. That's
yeah,
big brain.
and then it's also helpful to me because I can see the ID in the URL, and then I can go, okay, cool. I can go find that in my files. All right, cool. Oh yeah, it's the mesh. Yeah, we also were surprised by that monstrosity face in the cake.
Did not notice that before. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a small detail, but I wonder if there'll be more of those details now with the HD images that we'll see. But I can't imagine which one to look for. Maybe just a lot of cooking items. So that's
Probably.
weird.
The guy who designed the cooking items is like, I'm gonna hide this stuff in here and downsize it so hard that no one will be able to see it unless they use an AI to get back the details.
It's confirmed he did it on purpose.
Yeah.
So
Hero Games is using AI to hide things.
100% confirmed. So the web app has got all the basic functionality at the moment. So you're gonna have your cart, and there are guides and the guide. I'm so used to clicking on the emulator that I have to drag to scroll through it that I'm doing it now on the web app.
Okay.
But yeah, the guides displayed. Let's actually open up the Android app here and get that guide up, and go back to English, please. And guides. There we go. All right, so you can see it looks almost the same. Obviously, just with a smaller screen, but everything is rendered properly. Ooh, you see, I can't. My brain can't handle it. Click and drag
Yeah,
on
it
this
looks
side and
like
scroll.
it looks like the emulator. So, yeah, you switch to
Oh
the
goodness, I
emulator
can't do it.
brain.
Alright, but that's how it works. And obviously, well, because we can use web, a lot of these images are just lazy loaded as we scroll. So as I go, you'll see the images come through. So it'll save you data and it'll make the page load a lot quicker as well. Let's go fast. Alright, oh yeah, and I forgot I added the like and view count. I am going to test this in stream, although I'm not sure if it works. Cool. Not really. Kinda. I bet if I refresh the page now, the like will be updated. Damn it. Alright, I need to work on that. Don't make a ticket for it. I'm not gonna work on it. Did you see that, the Stone Cold Man? That needs fixing. Thank you.
Wow, now you got another code monkey like do this.
Yeah. He's helped me a lot because he gave me the motivation to actually go through that web app and clean up a lot of the views and the structure of the apps, make it a little bit more consistent. There's still a lot that needs to be done to make it more consistent, because as the pages,
Yeah, I think if you start collaborating, that's what happens when like you have your own like program that you wrote. It's just like it only makes sense to you, and then someone else wants to collaborate, and you realize I could have made this clearer, and then you start working on that. I think that's
exactly.
what happened with the app as well when I started like asking, what the hell does this do? And you're
Yes.
like, don't worry about that, don't worry about that.
Because it's
And
very,
quietly like rewrote everything.
yeah, it's very easy to know that there's an issue, but then you can ignore it. You don't have to look at it. But when someone else points it out, you're like, okay, maybe I should look at it. The one thing I
Yeah,
want to
that's
show,
true.
I think it'll be easy to show here. So there's a little bit of code, and everyone's gonna love looking at code. But whenever we do stuff like calling things on the internet, like getting data from the internet or loading a file, we have to do it in a certain way that returns this kind of object. And on all the pages, pretty much all the pages have to load from a file or request something from the internet, and they all had to be handled the same way. So this snapshot has properties, has data, or has error, is loading. It had all these kinds of things, and every single file was handling that and handling it in its own way. And I went and made a helper function for
You
that.
mean every single file type? What's like
Sorry?
like are you talking about different file types having different stuff, different
Oh no
like
no. So like
snapshots?
the community mission page would handle the snapshot.has error differently. Would say like,
Oh yeah,
oh,
that's
there's an
okay.
error or something. Where the guide page would do the exact same thing, but it would just have it slightly different. So what I did was I
You
moved
defined
the.
all that, right?
Sorry?
You defined that behavior for each thing separately.
Yeah. Even
Like
though,
community mission error is this, guide error is that. So
yeah, but it was a lot of repeated code. So I did move that all into one function, which is this one.
nice.
And now you can see on this page. So you pretty much all of this over here. So I think that's like 13 lines or something would be on every single file. And now it's at minimum 2, although it could be 1. I could move. Oh no, it's fine. It's 2 lines with some customizability, so you can add extra properties in here if you want to do other checks and balances. But for the most part, it'll be 2 lines. It'll try and get an error widget. If there's no error, it'll be null and it'll just continue. So if there is an error, it will show the error. And you can pass in things like your own function to check if it's valid, your own, yeah, there's a lot of things you can pass in to do the error checking. But the point is that all of that is now in one function, if anything goes wrong with that checking, we can just go look at that one function, fix it there, and it'll be fixed in the whole app.
Yeah, way better.
Yeah. So things like that is what needs to be done on the web app, because the web app has done the same thing in a ton of different ways, trying to find the best way possible for this solution. So with help from the Stone Cold Man, we can see which ones make more sense and which ones don't make a lot of sense, and then just move all of the ones that make sense into one file and then just reuse it everywhere.
Refactor everything.
Exactly. So yeah, we'll see how it goes, but I think this is going to help us actually catch up with the app, and maybe it will force me to spend a bit more time on the web version. And one way that we'll be advertising the web version is with all of the guess the item questions. Oh well, you know what the guess the item questions look like, right? I'll get it on screen. Quick link here. Oh man, we've been very active on social media lately. There we go. Alright, so guessing the item. So, well, I can just tell you what the item is. It is...
You say we have been active on social media, like our team is running this, but it's just you.
Maybe. So yes, the answer to this week's what guess the item is chloride lattice. And when that image is posted...
Ah, come on. You're favoring the big YouTuber. You're favoring the big man.
No.
It looks the same as crystal fragment, okay? ZenCQ. It looks the same. The chloride lattice and crystal fragment have the same kind of outline. So this is a YouTuber called Captain Steve, and he said it's chloride lattice. And then I was like, it could be crystal fragment as well. And then I said it's up to Kurt to decide which answer he's going to choose arbitrarily. And now he has shown his hand.
Well,
he
you
has,
see,
revealed his true nature.
Captain Steve also answered an hour and a half before you, and
hey, man.
He chose the correct one, of course, and he had a screenshot. So
I have a screenshot as well.
Yeah, but his is way cooler.
Mine uses the new font.
To be honest, I didn't realize. I actually submitted this image to Linus Lilo to be added to the what is this item image. And then when Captain Steve said chloride lattice, no, when you said crystal fragment, I said, no, that's crazy. And I said to Linus Lilo, no, it's chloride lattice. And then she went and found the image for chloride lattice and said, but this one's green. And I was like, oh. Because I look at the game files and I send the game files to Linus Lilo.
So the actual real correct answer is mine. I can rest easy now.
Technically,
like you
yes.
based the question from my answer.
I sent this image, but in my head I thought it was the chloride lattice. But
I get you.
Yeah, so the answer is the chloride lattice, and this link will be added to the answer that'll come through, and hopefully we get a few more people using. Yeah, that's going to be our advertising. Yeah. Hopefully people will start using the web app. Although I do want to add something so that when they're viewing this on a mobile device, that a little banner shows up or something that says, "Hey, please use the Android or iOS version of the app," because of stupid issues like this, which is really bad.
Like what?
I'm seeing that there's not enough padding at the bottom here, or margin.
Okay.
Which is a little bit frustrating.
Stream's late to catch up. I can't look at the YouTube stream and the Discord thing at the same time. It just crashes my internet.
Oh boy. I guess there's a lot of streaming.
Yeah, it's a lot of data crunching.
Alright, so this is what it's supposed to look like. This is what it looks like right now. Alright, I just need to make that a little bit better. I did put a lot of work into the mobile view of this, but I would prefer if people use the apps for mobile, because it's obviously faster, and I feel like it's a little bit less prone to issues. But yeah, Which also leads me to my next question for you, ZenCQ. You went for WinForms, but there are other things out there like Electron, which would let you do crazy JavaScript things. Would you think about going to switching over to Electron?
Actually, they're using WPF and not
Yeah,
WinForms, but
WPF. I was gonna suggest that.
Oh, sorry.
I was gonna suggest that. Like
I
WPF is
didn't
another
actually
alternate.
look yet into it, so don't know if I will do that.
I've done one little project with Electron.net, which was, it's an interesting way of doing it. I don't know if it's really that great because when you use Electron, your app is already 120 megabytes before you've done anything, because there's a lot of code in there. But it is an interesting way of doing it because you can have a .NET Core MVC app running in the background, doing all your logic, and you have access to the file system and all that stuff. And then you can have your front end be some sort of JavaScript app, and then it just runs like a little desktop app. But it would be a little bit of work. Okay, it would be a lot of work. But you would be able to run your app on anything. So Windows, Mac, Linux. Although this build is failing.
ZenCQ, I don't know if you're noticing a trend here, but Kurt is really into cross-platform stuff. He uses Flutter for, Flutter is a cross-platform build tool. Like you can technically write all four platforms, web, desktop. Oh, there's
Mobile.
5 now. Mobile, web, desktop, and mobile. Yeah, you can just count that as 3. So you can write for Windows, Mac, Linux. You can write for iOS, Android. So it's just one code base, and you can make apps for all of them. But yeah, he's very into cross-platform stuff.
I'm
It
also
makes sense, but
I'm also into all the new stuff that makes it a pain to work on.
Yeah.
So
a pain in the proverbial behind.
yeah, it's even on my
That is for
CV
sure.
website. It says I like to go for the newest tech until it's going to bite me in the ass, and
Yeah.
it has many times. Anyway, it's just a suggestion, ZenCQ. If you wanna hurt your brain and do something new.
Yeah, maybe.
If you want to get burnt
First,
by
I
the
will
bleeding edge.
finish it, and maybe then, yeah, I will have a look at it.
It'll be released in version 3 of Nom Nom.
Yeah.
It'd also be cool, like if we could integrate our platforms a bit more. Like we have the issue with the Assistant for No Man's Sky app with inventory management. So people have to manually go and edit their inventories and add stuff, and that can be really tedious. And from the beginning, people were complaining about it and saying like, it'd be cool if you could just get my inventory from No Man's Sky servers, but we all know that that's not how that works, and you can't do that, unfortunately. So there was initially I was going to write something to read the save game files, and then just like,
Wow, I would have loved to see that.
if your
I
app
would
was
love
on,
to see you hurt your brain with that.
it was actually going to be so extremely complicated because you would have to run it on your PC. Okay, first of all, there's no console support, and then it would read your game save file, and if your app was on the same Wi-Fi network as your PC, it could pick it up and then go and edit your inventory on the app live. Obviously now with the Google backup feature that we have, I would suggest we just upload it to the Google Drive the whole time.
Google Drive, yeah.
But yeah, I'm not going to work on that anymore. I think that's out of my wheelhouse. I'll just keep going on the app and the website. But yeah, it'd be cool if we could integrate at some stage ZenCQ. Like if you could upload someone's save game data to Google Drive in the AssistantNMS format, then
JSON, just use JSON and like a pre-shared, like, this is how it's going to look like.
a contract.
Just like an API. API request response thing.
Yeah, there's a lot of things to work out, like the format, how you access the Google Drive, because we can only access files in Google Drive that we've created. So we need to share keys, or we need to create an API that you could use. There's a lot to work out.
Uh,
Yeah, but it sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, we just need time.
As always.
As always.
time and brain cells lost on like banging your head on this problem.
Yeah, I mean, I've had problems with the app, maybe not with the app, but with the game file data, where for hours I'm struggling to get anything to work, and it's just because I've made a capital letter somewhere where I shouldn't have. So that's programming.
Definitely.
All right. Is there anything else you guys wanna say? You got a few minutes, because the stream is going to be ending soon.
Wait, I thought you could end it at any time you wanted.
I can end it
That's
at
not
any time,
true.
but I'm
There's
going to
someone
end it.
pointing a gun at you now.
I can't answer
Someone
that question.
pointing not yet, not yet.
Don't make me answer the question. All right. No one got anything to say?
Oh, you can say that I'm currently working on the teleporter stuff.
Oh, that's
Oh, the
cool.
teleporter. Okay. Yeah.
Yeah, so fast travel and actually managing the teleporter endpoint, renaming, deleting.
That is awesome. That is awesome. That's a very interesting feature.
Yeah, that is. And if anyone wants to use Nom Nom, they can just go find it on GitHub. I think we should actually have a products page or projects page on the NMS CD website and make it a little bit easier to get to everyone's projects.
Yeah.
Oh.
A website, you think? Make another website.
No,
Oh,
we'll
we
make a
already have an
page.
NMS.
Yeah,
Page on the website.
Yeah, like here, what are we working on? And then that just goes to another page, and then has all the projects listed. But yeah, people can find your Nom Nom on GitHub, and they can give you feedback via. I guess they can't send you messages on GitHub.
Could open an issue. That would be very irritating.
Yeah, they could open up an issue.
I imagine.
Yeah.
That would be so like, who the hell?
I still have an issue on the AssistantNMS GitHub for having the app in Russian, but being able to search for items in English.
Oh god. Okay. Good luck with that.
Yeah, so the UI would be Russian, but the actual items would be English. Yeah, it's a very custom request.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Make this app for me.
Yeah, I want to use the app in Russian, but I'm playing the game in English.
I mean, that makes sense though.
It does, but I don't want to separate the languages between what is the language of the game.
That is definitely a pain. Yeah, that is a pain.
Anyway, that's a problem for another day.
Another DevTalk. That's a
Yes.
problem for another DevTalk.
All right, but thank you for joining us, ZenziQ. It was great. We got to ask you lots of questions. Make you stress about new technologies.
Yeah, it's not a bad thing. So
All right, well, thank you everybody for
always
joining.
open for.
Oh yeah?
Yeah, always open for input to
That's definitely a
make
good
things
thing.
better.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the way to do
It's
it.
the same. So, yeah.
All right, cool.